Hi guys, this will be my first video for FIFA 22 and it will be the hotly requested 352 video. People have started to ask more and more for it, so it's finally time for me to get it done. It seems to come out like clockwork every year, but the 352 once again I think is an extremely strong formation. I think played correctly it can give people a lot of trouble, give them a lot of different looks than some of the other formations give. I've spent probably around 250 games so far this year trying to get it into a state that I think is viable. I've gone through many iterations of it that were just not good at all, and I didn't want to put something out that I wasn't truly committed to, so I apologise that it's a little bit later than it probably should have been, but I wanted to make sure it was to a standard where I feel like it's now plug and play and there is no issues with it that you have to sort of address. I've hit the Elite League. I hit the Elite League 2 days ago. Currently at 1805. I've been yo-yoing up and down in terms of skill rating, but we're just slightly above where you join the Elite League. So extremely happy to have finally hit it and be playing against some of the top competition in the world. This is the squad I hit it with. I hit it with Immobile up top with Chiesa. Immobile was left striker, Chiesa right striker. Insigne was my cam. Kessie and Barella were my DMs. Cuadrado and Spinazzola were my right back and left back, and we had a back three of Skriniar, Manolas and Koulibaly with Chesney in the net. Now, this team doesn't have superstars, and it's why I'm extremely happy to have hit it with this team, because you don't need Neymar's, Mbappe's, Ronaldo's, Vieira's to make it up there. This team made it there. So you can probably go out and buy this squad, hopefully. Some iteration of it. Honestly, Barella's 100,000 coins. You could just get his 84. I didn't particularly notice that much of a difference, but I had some coins spare and didn't want to change the core of the team too much because it was winning. So we just upgraded, but you absolutely could just use the 84. I won't delay any longer. Apologies. Just wanted to give that a little bit of intro. We will get straight into the tactics. So the formation is the 3-5-2, as is tradition. We had Immobile and Chiesa as the strikers. Senior at cam, Spinazzola, Cuadrado as the left mid and right mid. We actually had these two swapped around. We had Kessie at RDM and Barella at LDM. Manolas, Skriniar, Koulibaly and Chesney at goalkeeper. Let me just swap these around then, because I had them the wrong way around. So, tactics first of all. Balance 50-50 on the defensive style. Currently in FIFA, it feels like depth really isn't playing that much of a big part in actually how your team sets up, so I haven't really been able to test. So I'm at 50 right now. If the game gets patched and depth does start to play have an impact, this will be experimented with, but currently it feels like whether you're on 100, 10, 50, just is irrelevant. The reason I go balanced is that I've tried press after possession loss, I've tried and press on heavy touch. The problem with those two tactics is that it's the computer that decides when to press, and there's just some moments I really don't want to press after I've lost the ball. All I want to do is shell back up. I think those are useful defensive styles for very specific situations, but generally speaking you want to run balanced and then make that read later into the game. If you need a more aggressive stance, maybe go to one of these two, but for me, from the rip, you just want balanced. The offensive style, I've gone build up, I've gone fast. It's actually the same as what I did run last year, that is a continuous, that's continued through both iterations of 3-5-2. The reason I go fast build up is that it does transition really quick, as the name would suggest, but it also They do kind of still give you an option. One of the problems I found with long ball was that it felt like there was no regard for build-up. They would just go centre-back to striker, which is not how the 3-5-2 plays. The 3-5-2 does very much play almost like centre-back, DM, into wing, back inside, into striker. It does that sort of process where you do need some sort of transition, whereas long ball, I feel like you just go centre-back and long. Whether that's a through ball or a chip ball or whatever, and it just didn't work for me. Slow build-up was... I could see a world where slow build-up is useful, and if you did a really heavy possession-based 3-5-2, it would be good. However, for me, it's not how I play the 3-5-2, and it's not what I've had success in. So, fast build-up it was. Chance creation is unbalanced. Again, The others, they have pros and cons. I feel like balanced is the most balanced of them, which is obviously what it's there for. Direct passing, I just felt like they would constantly run away from you too much. I do have them on getting behind, so they already sort of run away from you. But with direct passing, I feel like they're just constantly making in behind runs, and sometimes that can get you into a lot of trouble with your DMs because you do need to find someone on an outlet pass. Forward runs is also good, and for attacking it's fine. The problem is that it seems to override your stay back while attacking DM's instructions. And he gets forward as well, which means that you end up with a 3 on defence from counters, and that's not particularly helpful. This is good if you're chasing the game. Around 60 minutes, if I'm down 60, 70 minutes, I will start, ramping up my tactics, putting on a press, putting on forward runs, because I have a little bit less for the counter. But as a base tactic, balance is your best. Width is on 15. The reason I have width on 15, and I've tried pretty much along all of the scale, and the problem is once you go up to balanced is fine, it works fine. Once you go up to too high, once you go up, I think it's past 71 and the text changes, you'll find that your striker and cam drift wide to support your wingers, which is not what you want actually in the 3-5-2. The whole point of the 3-5-2 is to get the ball into your two strikers and cam. Everything else sort of facilitates that, and the reason I'm playing 15 width right now, and you could go 16, 14, 30, but I honestly think it makes very little difference on the small change, but being down at the lower end of width is important, because what it means is the spine of your team sits extremely narrow, almost plays like a 4-1-2-1-2, for example, two strikers, cam, two CDMs, it plays in that very, you can do the quick tiki-taka between them all. But what we have in the 3-5-2 is the left mid and right mid are also present, and we have hug sideline on the in-game instruction, which overrides their width. So they don't sit narrow, they sit extremely wide, and what that does is it creates this pull between their centre backs and their left back and right back, where sometimes they don't quite know what they're supposed to do, so they either leave the wingers completely open, which you then play out to them, drive byline, look to get a ball into the box, or B, they go out to them and it leaves a big chasm between the left back and the centre back, which you can then exploit with your strikers making runs in behind. So it sort of creates catch-22 in my opinion, with the width being so narrow but your wingers being so wide. One thing I will note is you do have to be a little bit careful. Wingers can get isolated. You do have to sort of be fairly decent on the ball to be able to work your way out of situations. R1 and X-driven passes are your best friend in this formation. You can use it to very quickly move the ball around your players, and also R1 and square for a long switch, a driven switch to the other side of the pitch if they are cramming your side. Just be very wary of getting yourself isolated out on them wings. Playing the boxes 8. I actually took this from Impact, Saf Impact, so shout out to him for this one. I saw he did a tactics video, and he was using this on a particular tactic, not a 3-5-2, I think it was a 4-3-3. And what he said is absolutely right, which is that this year scoring in a box is pretty hard. Now, in your head, you'll think, well, let's not put players in the box, but you actually need to do the opposite. You need to get numbers into the box to allow you to make that one pass across and secure a 100% goal. If you're taking shots in the box right now, feels like the keepers are pretty insane at saving them. So what this does is it puts enough numbers into the box where you can actually slide the ball to the side and get an easy tap in. And because of that reason, that's why I'm running it. That may change with patches, etc. But right now, 8 in the box feels extremely good. Corners and free kicks is personal preference. I play 2-2. I do like to have a couple of numbers into the box, but I've seen people run 1-1, and honestly, if you do that, it's not going to make too much of a difference. You'll be more secure on the counter. Really quickly, let's get into the instructions. So, both of my strikers are on stay central, getting behind, stay forward. I like stay central because, again, I don't want them going and supporting the wingers. I want them staying as narrow as possible. So it only makes sense to put them on stay central. Getting behind, it's actually pretty necessary this year, in my opinion. I've tried balanced, I've tried target man. and they're actually fine. The problem is if you do either of those, it doesn't push the defensive line back far enough. What double getting behind does is it forces their defence extremely deep and opens up a massive amount of space for you to play in front of them. And with finesse shots and long range shots being fairly strong, you have that option, but also it makes them panic. Did they pull a centre back out to come and close the gap? If so, you can play him behind. It's just brilliant for causing a little bit of mayhem. Gives you Cam a lot of space to work into. The centre attacking mid, I just have on stay forward. If you have it unbalanced, which I've tried on basic or come back on defence, they actually go and sit out at left mid somewhere for some strange reason. So stay forward is a must. I've also tried free roam on this guy, and the problem is with free roam is they drop far too deep, and it means that on a fast counter you only have 2 rather than having the 3 with the Cam and 2 strikers. So just stay forward's perfect for him. Left mid and right mid, come back on defence, get in behind. They need to operate up and down the channels as much as possible. So come back on defence to form the 5 back in defence, get in behind to push on as quickly as possible. The others, this chance creation doesn't matter because we're on hug sideline on the D-pad instruction in game, which I'll talk about very shortly. Support on crosses. If you have get into the box for cross, they do it every single time. I just like balanced. I like the players to read the situation and make their choices. DMs, I have Barella on balanced. If I think I'm dominating a game, I will change him to get forwards about half time, but I'm just unbalanced from the start of the game, and Kessie is on stay back. Both are on cover centre. You don't want them forming a 5 back and going out to the wings. You want them sitting in front of your 3 centre backs and defending. I'd rather my wide centre backs go and challenge the wing rather than my DMs. And the 3 centre backs are just on stay back while attacking. Again, I've tried the step up, didn't particularly enjoy it, didn't find it effective at all. I've tried overlap on these outside centre backs, and they just get too far forwards and leave you vulnerable. For the keeper, I'm on comes for crosses. Crossing is fairly viable this year, and having your keeper come and claim crosses is extremely important. Saving outside the box, I've tried sweeper keeper, and I find him commit to sometimes over the top through balls that they can't actually get to, and I have no control over him coming out. So balanced it is. Finally, and always the most important, when you get in game, you press up on your D-pad, and then you press left and you press right, and that'll put on hug sideline and attacking fullbacks. For some reason, the game is coded that attacking fullbacks still works on left mids and right mids, and it puts them way further up the pitch on attacks, and hug sideline to override the width and force them wide regardless of your width in game. So that's the tactic, guys. Like I say, I do make some little adjustments in games. Make sure you have some bench players who can come on around 65 minutes. I bring on Porto, Atal at left mid and right mid, and I bring on Andrew Liska at Cam. You just need energy in that final sort of 25. Around 65 minutes, I'll get my pause in, and that will really help you out. Apart from that, I am going to be making a lot more content on YouTube and TikTok, as well as my general streams on Twitch, so please check me out on those platforms. And please hit subscribe on this channel if you find this video interesting. Apart from that, that's me done for the video. Like I say, it's got me to the Elite League. I'm extremely happy to have finally got the 352 working on this FIFA. I have spent countless hours trying to get it to go, and we've finally made it. So appreciate you all. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Take it easy and peace.